Call the roll.
Waters.
Here.
Capron. Here. Greckin.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Scott.
Here, let's stand for a moment of silent prayer followed by the pledge of allegiance. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Matt, you want to meet me at the podium, please? Get them both today.
Okay.
Am I reading both here today, or
What's the other one?
Harbor and
Kids.
City, USA, Tree City?
Yeah, you can do both.
Okay. They both kind of read the same.
Yep.
We'll read them in. Whereas the city of Sioux City was named a 2016 Tree City USA by the Arbor Day Foundation in honor of its commitment to effective urban forest management. And whereas Sioux City joins more than 3,400 tree cities USA with a combined population of 140 million. And whereas as a result of the commitment by the city of Sioux City to effective urban forest management, you already know that trees are vital to the public infrastructure of cities and towns, providing environmental, social, and economic benefits. Trees are the one piece of the community infrastructure that actually increases in value over time. And whereas trees bring shade to our homes, beauty to our neighborhoods, along with economic, social, and environmental benefits. Now, therefore, I, Robert E. Scott, Mayor of the City of Sioux City, Iowa, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim Sioux City, Iowa's Tree City USA 2016. As we celebrate our commitment to the people and trees of Sioux City, and thank you for helping to create a healthier planet for all of us.
All right, go ahead with that one.
I'll read it and kind of leave some of it out that I've read.
Sure.
Okay? Whereas the Arbor Day holiday was first observed in 18, and Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. Whereas trees reduce erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cutting heat and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And where trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees increase the value, property values, enhance the economic vitality of a business community, and beautify our community with a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, Robert E. Scott, Mayor of the City of Sioux City Council, do hereby proclaim April 28, 2013 as Arbor Day in Sioux City, and urge all our citizens to plant trees for the well-being of this and future generations.
All right.
Go ahead and say a few words.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor and City Council. Our Parks and Recreation Department plans about 125 trees annually for any of those that were lost and stored and damaged or just have died naturally. Our Arbor Day planting this year will take place at the boat ramp, and at the same time we'll be dedicating the fish cleaning station and the new bathroom there. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Are here for something?
Got to give her time to get ready. This is an award from the Grand Lodge of the Elks, and it's the Elks Distinguished Citizenship Award, and it's presented to Robert Scott for outstanding and meritorious service to humanity by the Sioux City Lodge number 112 and the Grand Lodge Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks. In testimony where I've witnessed our signature, and they signed it on the 8th day of March, and
Well,
this
thank
is
you.
for
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Say when Sandy called me, I said I don't really need any awards, but I do appreciate it.
This
Thank
one you
guys.
need.
All right.
Thanks,
you.
Bob.
Appreciate it. Okay, we'll go on to interviews for the Senior Advisory Committee. Madeline Fowler, you want to come up and tell us a little bit about yourself and why you would like to serve?
Good afternoon. I've lived my whole life in Sioux City. I've gone to parochial and public schools here. I volunteered 17 seasons as soccer coach, T-ball, Cub Scouts, religion classes. I'm what they call very approachable, and a lot of people give me their opinions. I am, however, since I applied, with a recent handicap that I don't know if you'll overlook or not. I have been given a year or two left to live. But since you're looking for seniors, I imagine you're going to meet quite a few of us that don't have too long. I just thought it would be interesting since I hear so many people. I go to the senior citizens or active generations and hear a lot of what they think of what's going on in the city. So that's about it.
Where'd you go to school at in Sioux City?
Let's see, Hunt, St. Joseph, and Central High School, and North Junior, which is no longer here.
Okay, good. Questions?
Thanks for applying.
Yeah, we
Thank
appreciate
you.
your interest.
We'll let you know, okay? Okay. Thank you. We'll now move to the consent agenda, which is items 3 through 17B. Consider them passed unanimously unless a council member asks for a separate vote. If you want to speak on any item, please come forward as I read it. State your name and address for the record. And if it's not on the agenda, please come up under citizen concern. I'll move the consent agenda.
Second?
3 is a reading of the City Council minutes of April 17, 2017. 4 is a resolution authorizing an increase to the citizens. 5 is a resolution awarding a purchase order to GovConnection for the purchase of desktop computers, monitors, and speakers. 6 is a resolution appointing Heidi Barnes, as Deputy City Clerk, replacing Sarah Surgeant and Kyle A. Daniels. 7 is a resolution temporarily closing Douglas Street from 6th to 7th on Memorial. 8 is a motion authorizing staff to negotiate with Confluence for the conceptual plan related to the vacation and development of the Dale Street between 5th and 16th Street. 9 for our motion authorizing staff to negotiate with Snyder and Associates for design related to the green space improvements at 1400 Ingleside Avenue.
I had a question about that. Thanks, Jill. I was wondering if you could just I was reading through the project and I just want to know a little bit more about it. Could you tell us a little bit about
Sure.
that project?
Jill Wanderside, Neighborhood Services Manager. This item is related to a vacant lot that we currently own at 1400 Ingleside that we bought a few years ago. Engineering is working on the design of the reconstruction of Ingleside between 14th and 18th. And so as a part of that, we thought it would be a great opportunity to finally wrap up the project at that location. We anticipate doing some type of green space, public space, but we're not quite sure yet what the outcome will be, but some type of green space that can be used as a park or gathering area for the neighborhood.
And it's the same with the agenda item before, right? Is that similar?
Yes, that one, since we developed Dale Street Park with the splash pad, we have seen over the years that it's become more of a destination park. We have a lot of vehicle traffic there, kids going back and forth, and so we feel like it's something we need to take a look at before we move out of that urban renewal area.
What other recreational opportunities are you hoping to provide?
The area is a little bit more difficult. Typically, we have public meetings, we get input, which we intend to do, obviously. But it's it's about 80% rentals in that area, highly transient population. And so it's very difficult to get feedback as far as what they want to see in their neighborhood. And so we think we know what we want, but it's difficult. So we'll be doing some different things probably with National Night Out, things like that. It might be more of a passive area where there's maybe a grill or a covered area. It'll just depend on what kind of feedback we get from the neighborhood.
Thanks.
Thanks.
10 is a motion approving a Parks and Rec Memorial and Gifts application by the Skateboard Association for a new skate park featuring Cook Park in recognition of Andrew Langham. 11 is a resolution approving the Huntsman tort claim settlement and authorizing payment. 12 is actions adopting construction documents. A is a resolution adopting plans and specifications for construction of the Riverfront Sanitary Sewer Interceptor Cleaning and Televising Project. B is a resolution adopting plans and specifications for construction of the Ridge Avenue Sewer Project. Can you tell me the address on this? I should have called you earlier, I'm sorry.
Glenn Ellis, city engineer. It's actually west of South Lynn Street over to Southwest Scott Street. So it's going to be west of Fairmont, north of Vine.
Okay, thank you. Actions relating to agreements, contracts. A is a resolution approving a service provider agreement with Thompson Electric for the citywide arc flash study. I need to abstain. B is a resolution approving a service provider agreement with West Plains Engineering for the citywide arc flash study. C is a resolution approving a third amendment to the Hazmat 2080 agreement with Univista County for hazmat services. D is a resolution approving a second amendment to the Hazmat 2080 agreement with Dakota City and the Dakota Covington Rural Fire Department for hazmat services. E is a resolution approving the third amendment to the Hazmat 2080 agreement with Sioux County for hazmat services. F is a resolution approving a third agreement to the Hazmat 2080 agreement with Region 4 Hazardous Material Response Commission for the hazmat services. G is a resolution accepting the Siouxland Community Foundation grant recipient agreement between the Housing Trust Fund and the Siouxland Community Foundation. H is a resolution granting a permit to Fibercom for underground cable in the area of Murray Street, Oler King Drive, and Boulevard of Champions. I is a resolution approving amendment number 2 to the engineering services agreement with McClure Engineering for construction staking services for North Lewis Boulevard, Main 1st Street to 31st Street project. J is a resolution approving a contract with Mark Albanesius for the North Lewis Boulevard Water Main 1st Street to 31st Street project. K is a resolution approving a contract to Bainbridge Construction for the Ravine Park Watershed Upland VMPS. Staff recommends.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
L is a resolution authorizing a construction and maintenance agreement with the Union Pacific Railroad for the Outer Drive North and Floyd Boulevard Trail Connection Project. M is a resolution approving a contract with Paragon Restoration for the 2017 Discovery Parking Ramp Project. N is a resolution approving a first amendment to the development agreement with Midnight LLC for development of apartments in the 300 block of Wesley Parkway. 14 are actions relating to property. A is a resolution approving a corrective city deed to Midnight LLC for the development of apartments in the 300 block of Wesley Parkway. B is a resolution approving a quitclaim deed from Midnight LLC for the development of apartments in the 300 block of Wesley Way Parkway.
And Mayor and Council, the form of quitclaim deed has changed slightly from what's attached. There was some warranty language that was included in the copy that's attached to homework. However, it's been changed to a straight quitclaim deed, which will be executed by Clint Stencil and provided to the city.
C is a resolution inviting proposals for the sale of land in Donna Park and accepting the proposal of the school district property at South Cypress Street and Lincoln Way. I don't want to be critical of the school board, but we seem to sneak these in because this is already pretty well done. It was part of an agreement.
2080 agreement.
But we didn't know anything. The transfer of any land was not, this is for a sign the way I look at it. I might be wrong, but it appears the way the triangular piece is for a sign later.
This is a South Cypress.
Yeah, but if you look, it's like a triangle right out front on Lincoln Way. It looks just like it's for a sign like they need at North High.
Jeff Hansen, Community Development Operations Manager. My understanding that in August of 2016, there was a 2080 agreement approved by both parties where the land transfer was discussed, and it's identified in that 2080 agreement. I'm not aware of what their particular use for that is. It's approximately 1,300 square foot triangle, which will be on would be the northeast corner of this new intersection with.
Can only be
Lincoln Way.
for a sign.
It could possibly be for a sign. They would have to meet setbacks and not be allowed to put a sign in the site triangle, so that'd have to be reviewed when it comes forward.
I'm just unbelievably disappointed that these things, I mean, they knew what they were doing, but why didn't we know?
The other part of that 2080
When they're
agreement-
asking for a specific piece of ground, it tells me they knew what they were doing and we didn't. And we never get anything free from the school district on property. but yet we always give them free property.
The other half of this 2080 agreement is that the school is deeding to the city of Sioux City 1.84 acres to be used as part of the South Cypress alignment. So the road, as it enters onto the school property, the 2080 agreements holds the school responsible to deed that property to us.
That was easy for them to do. We paid for most of the paving. It helped their school.
Correct. The land will be at no cost.
We can get that for you, because I just don't,
No,
I
it's
don't
just, it
recall if it's
bothers
part
me
of-
that we
if it's
don't
part of the
know about
playground.
this stuff. It bothers me, and that they knew ahead of time they were gonna put a sign here. They didn't even act like they wanted the paving, and then all of a sudden they lay out a piece of ground for a sign, which they got a better attorney than we must have. You know what I'm
I don't-
saying here? Mr. Moore?
I don't know if it's a sign, because I thought it was abutting the playground, but I could be mistaken.
No, it's way down and it's right off the street, right?
Yeah, it's right off Lincoln Way.
The only thing it's good for is a sign. It's way away from the campus.
Yeah.
So, 15 are applications for cigarette, tobacco, nicotine, vapor permits. See the list, come forward if you have questions. 16 are applications for beer and liquor license. See the list, come forward if you have questions. 17 are receipt of minutes. See the list, come forward if you have any questions. Anyone to be heard on any of those items? Call the roll, please.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters. Aye. Capron.
Aye.
A portion of the east-west alley adjacent to 811 Newton Street. Petitioners Dave and Kathleen Bertrand, P and Z recommends approval.
Susan Stewart, Chair of Planning and Zoning. This was, no one but the petitioner spoke on behalf or against this item. There was not really much discussion from the board as well.
Second.
Go ahead.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Abstain.
Waters. Aye. Capron,
Aye.
Greckin.
Aye.
Anybody opposed to waiving the statutory rule?
No.
No. I abstain, is that okay? Or do I have to vote aye for the,
I only need 4 votes
Okay.
for
go ahead.
to waive the rules.
Okay, call the roll.
Did someone waive?
I'll move
Second.
waiving of the rule.
Scott,
Pass. Aye. I mean, abstain, I'm sorry.
Waters.
Aye.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore.
Aye. I'll move second and third.
Second.
Waters.
Aye.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye. Or abstain, I'm sorry. 19's a hearing and resolution approving plans and specifications for the construction of asphalt seal coating project at Sioux Gateway Airport. I'll move that.
Second.
What exactly is the seal coat? It's an engineering question, probably more than for you, Mike. Is it actually seal coat?
It is. It's a airport approved, FAA approved. It's called P608 GSB.
How big a job is it?
It's about 100,000 square yards, potentially. I think the base is 80,000 square yards.
How many square feet? I mean, how many, what's the thickness? You're just seal coating like you would an asphalt street?
I believe so, yes.
I didn't think the engineers ever approved anything like that in the city of Sioux City. Even though they do it all over Nebraska and South Dakota, you're doing it at the airport, huh?
We are.
Okay, when's it bid?
Bids are due May 2nd.
Okay. Call the roll, please.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
20 is a hearing and resolution agreeing to requests of 90% LLC, Jay and Nicole Lehman to annex land in the city of Sioux City at 6115 Morningside Avenue.
I'll move it.
Second.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
Capron.
Aye.
21 is a resolution improving plans and specifications for the construction of the Gordon Drive and 158th Street traffic signal project. I'll move it.
Second.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
Capron.
Aye.
22 is a hearing and resolution agreeing to the request of the Siouxland Community Christian School and Fifth Generation Investments to annex land into the city property abutting Gordon Drive and the right-of-way near the Gordon Drive and 158th Street intersection. I'll move it.
Second.
4.
I have a conflict of interest, I'll abstain.
Waters,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin.
Aye.
Ordinance amending and updating the various chapters of the municipal code. I'll move first reading.
Second.
Anyone to be heard?
Mayor and council, you'll see that there's several areas of the city code that we're bringing forth for updates and changes. Several of these are pertaining to typos in the code or things that just needed to be corrected. There are several that also are bringing in additional areas of the state code for continuity and streamlining some of the traffic, things that we would be able to charge as a city that aren't currently included. Additionally, there's one slight revision to the pit bull ordinance, which changes the process for a hearing. If an individual's dog is picked up at large, for example, and is a pit bull, there's a determination by the pound master that it's a pit bull. That individual can request a hearing. It changes the burden of proof for that hearing. To date, the city has never had a hearing that has been requested under this section, but we see that this is an area that should be changed going forward, so we'd bring that for the council's consideration as well. Be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
So the burden of proof would be put on the animal control then?
Correct. On the pound master through the...
And how exactly are they going to do that? Because it's going to be their opinion.
Sure, in the professional opinion of the pound master, our code has two different areas. One, that it is a pit bull, that it's a declared pit bull, or a dog that is of the characteristics of a pit bull. And that's something else that could be considered for a determination.
So my question is, there's pit bulls out there that don't look like pit bulls. So how, they could be picking up a dog that might be a pit bull, but it doesn't look like one. Are they going to do DNA? Because we're looking at 50 more %.
Sure, and those are all things that could be considered by the pound master, and I would just remind the council that this item is currently in litigation. There has been a challenge filed by Jennifer Frost, who is standing at the podium right now. She's represented by council, and it is a federal action that's currently pending. I would not go further to elaborate regarding those issues at this time.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Jennifer Frost, 803 32nd Street. I just wanted to present City Council with some actually very well-researched information, some from the University of Florida, as well as the University of Oregon and the University of Michigan. I just thought you should have this in your hands as you're trying to make determination on whether or not you're going to grant the pound master the ability to visually identify a breed, because my fear is that you're going to open yourself to more lawsuits, because if a person is just saying this, and granted they are professionals, I love animal control even though I had to surrender my dog. This is actually researched information stating that you can't visually identify. And so I'm actually here trying to offer, this is not about my dog is gone, and we're actually going to be leaving Sioux City in June. So this is for you to actually make informed decisions going forward, and to give animal control the freedom to actually just police dogs based on their personalities, not on their breeds. And so I would recommend that, obviously legally, the burden of proof should be what you're trying to change. Absolutely, I agree with what you're trying to do. Absolutely, the burden of proof should be on the city. The city should have to pay for it 100%. But if you go that next step and the questions that Councilwoman Capron asked, then that's going to open up another can of, well, wait a second, you're saying my dog's a pit bull by visual identification. If you don't do DNA testing, what leg do you have to stand on? Some of these reports that I'll pass out to you if you allow me to approach show the difference between visual identification and DNA testing. We had our dog DNA tested, who we knew was 100% Staffordshire Bull Terrier. That test cost $75. As an individual, maybe the city can get a deal on DNA testing, but it is going to cost you money. It is. And I also have a sheet put out by the Best Friends Animal Society, who it lists out the cost specifically for Sioux City when you have a breed discriminatory legislation. So I can pass that out to you as well, so you can actually look at the cost breakdown of what it could potentially cost you in Sioux City. So you might want to look at that. And then just another recommendation is that there is the Animal Farm Foundation. They're based out of New York. They actually come to cities and advise you with dog experts, breed experts, and they can come and advise you on really good, healthy policies for the city to move forward to avoid litigation in the future. And so I'd be happy to pass on that contact information as well, but they could help you out. Would you like this information to look through?
Definitely.
Sure.
Thank you. Do you have any questions? I know it's hard because I'm the plaintiff in the litigation, but it's, you know, since I came here before, that it's not about the litigation. It's doing the right thing for the city, and that's my heart. That's where I stand, I guess.
Are there 2 pages?
There should be 3 total. There's one that, 2 of them are about identifying pit bulls. So there's 2 of those, and then there's one that is the cost breakdown for potential costs for Sioux City, and it gives you the sources and where you can go to actually find out their methodology for how they calculate those. One more, I didn't print off copies for everyone, but it is an epidemiological study that measures why breed bans fail to reduce dog bite injuries. And so that's obviously another conversation, but I just would really caution you. I mean, you may have to move forward with this just in the litigation piece with what you're doing, and I absolutely commend you on doing that. But to really look at what this issue can produce in the future for Sioux City, and already has, obviously, as I'm standing here. So this is something that you could make copies of and look through. It's put out by the National Canine Research Council, which is a research and policy think tank. So, I mean, you certainly can get that information yourself, but I'm happy to give it to you if you would like it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Call the roll, please.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters, Capron,
Aye.
Greckin.
Aye.
Second, third.
Second.
Anybody have a problem?
Nope.
No,
Scott,
Aye.
Alex, second.
Second,
Alex,
thank you.
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
24 is a resolution approving a change order number 1 and 2 and authorizing final payment to Mark Albanesius.
Do you want to
Thank you,
move
Ms.
second
Wong.
and third?
We want to do the second and third now?
Oh, I thought we did do second, third. I'm sorry, I'll move second, third.
Second.
Waters,
Aye.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye. 24 is a resolution approving change order number 1 and 2 and authorizing final payment to Mark Albanesius for the Missouri River Boat Club ramp and bank repair project.
I'll move it.
Second.
Don't leave, Mr. Carney, because I warned you, and I warned you ahead of time this would happen. And now the city's paying a high price because you guys and your unwillingness to believe that it was going to happen. And that's really disappointing to me when council members don't know anything and staff does. And we're paying a big price today because of your unwillingness to concede that that was a mistake to even award the contract. And you don't have to answer, but it's the truth, and it bothers the heck out of me.
What's but again?
So, and you don't have a good answer, I know, but we should have never awarded this contract under the format. First of all, you bid it, came in way over, goofy over budget. Second of all, you bid it, and I told you right away the quantities weren't even close to reality and that the job couldn't be built. from talking to contractors, but you didn't want to believe it, and now we're paying the price and we don't even have the job done. And we're gonna pay, you can say it's not gonna cost anymore. City's time and city staff taken
Oh.
away from other jobs are gonna cost a lot of money here.
Well, and that's not to add that actually, we were near completion on Friday and we had a failure this weekend on it. So there will be a,
So is it bad engineering or is it bad contracting? Is it just bad water, bad river?
I'll let Jim Bursch from CTS answer the question about the engineering on it, since they were the ones that performed the soils investigation and worked with Howard R. Green to come up with the design.
When we first did this, did the borings was in, I believe, June of 2015, and the construction started this middle last winter, about December, January. Between that time period, we had a lot more erosion and a lot more of the bank caving in. It became a much bigger job. I didn't have anything to do with quantities or calculating quantities. What I did was we drilled at the top of the hill and determined that by doing a benching of the project, it would be stable. However, when we went to build the project, the material that was going to be benched was in the creek. It was no longer available. When Albanisia started building it, we started to see some settlement and subsidence, so we asked them to stop so we could monitor that to see what was going on. It's our opinion that the soils were compressing underneath the weight of the fill. But that's how the project came about, and that's what happened.
So now, are we gonna get any reimbursement from FEMA because we haven't even done the job and it's failed?
Correct. We'll not, we'll have to pay our reimbursement back unless we're able to.
And now it's really gonna cost us.
Mm-hmm.
And how are we gonna stop the erosion?
I don't think short of putting sheet pile wall up there is going to stop that erosion.
Yeah, and there's several more that are occurring along the bank too that are going to continue to occur in other areas.
I'm not a rocket scientist here, but it seems to me that when we had the flood, that kind of changed the current of the river, and that means that the current got changed, that's digging out the hole. Is that correct?
The river's constantly changing, and anything like that affects it. Obviously, the water came up the river from the Missouri during the flood, and the banks weren't really designed for that. They're more designed for the water going down the river, and that's a lot of the stuff that occurred.
Would there be like river water underneath the river that would be coming up? Would that be a possibility?
Well, the soils underneath are really soft and weak, and so anytime you increase the flow, it also increases the buoyancy of pushing up the land, and so it does loosen up the soil as that occurs.
Hey, Dave, I think last Monday when we had Public Works team meeting, I asked the question then, but notwithstanding the amount of money that's being spent, which I agree with the mayor is significant, I'm more curious now about the whole safety of the area in the clubhouse and the deck, and can that whole thing go sliding into the Big Sioux? Should anybody be in it right now at all?
They're safe where they're at right now, but the erosion is occurring and is moving up towards them. So it's just a matter of time before.
How much time do you think?
It's hard to say. It really is.
Stuck in a month?
In a year and a half,
Right.
we lost a lot of erosion in a year and a half. It could be another year and a half, 2 years, 5 years. It could stop and where it's at and not continue. Part of the problem too is that old bank is built out of old buried concrete and everything else. And once it starts to lose a little bit of material underneath it, it just caves in. There's nothing underneath it to hold it up. It's just like when you're digging a trench to put in a sewer pipe. If you have weak soils down below and strong soils up above, that's when you get the cave-ins and people get killed, is because the weaker soils can't hold the bank, and that's what's happening there.
So can they even use the boat club anymore to dock boats?
I don't know if they'd be able to build their ramps or build their docks that they had out there.
Excuse me. Russ Hodge with the Boat Club, been here 29 years. Our docks ain't, excuse me, aren't in, of course, yet, but they will be going in shortly. But it, like they're saying, it continues to slide. Like last Friday afternoon, the city completed their work about 2:30 in the afternoon. 4 hours later, it slid 4 foot. And it's not compressing out on the river's edge, it's compressing on behind, near the wall, I guess you would call it. It slid 4 foot and crapped and started sliding into the river within 4 hours of the city doing the work. So it's getting worse, whatever's going on. It's getting more severe. It's to the sidewalks. The sidewalk's ready to go in now. And it is heading to the north towards the clubhouse. So, I mean, from what we've watched and seen, because we've been watching it all the time, it seems like when the hole gets filled into a certain extent, it's like the weight, then it starts shoving it.
Yeah.
When it's down low, whatever's fine. When it gets up close to the top where you guys get filled, then boom, it goes and slides. So dangerous. I mean, you guys got some snow fence up there that's whatever, but I mean, somebody could fall against it and fall in a hole. Yeah, it's getting to be very dangerous for anybody that's close to the thing. The parking lots are destroyed. I mean, the place is a mess. It's mud everywhere because it's just not finished. It's just getting very, very disappointing for us. You know, it's been going on 3 years.
Well, sounds like we're not in the boat storage business anymore. I mean, I don't know how we're gonna fix this.
These other gentlemen back there, we were on the committee when we went to FEMA. We went and talked to those guys, and we were at every meeting. They said, you know, anytime at that point back then was if it needed to be more money to take care of the problem, that FEMA would kick in more money if it wasn't extremely expensive to make it so it wouldn't happen again. And I don't know if the city dropped the ball or whatever, but we were at every meeting, and all of a sudden it got put off, and then it was off another year, and all of a sudden here we are 3 years later, and it's still not done, and you guys are spending a lot of money, and we have no idea what's happening.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds to me it's not a matter of throwing more money at it. That's not going to fix the problem. I mean, the river's just going to continue to erode and change and shift.
But this is something.
Solve the problem, but that's, you know, I mentioned that in South Ravine, and they all looked at me like I was nuts, and now all of a sudden it's a solution.
Well, no, the thing is with sheet pile is FEMA wouldn't pay for the reimbursement because that's an approved project now. You didn't replace it with what? With FEMA, if you have a 20-foot wide bridge, it gets knocked down by a storm, you're allowed to put back a 20-foot wide bridge. You can't put it back, even though your city standard now is 27 or 31 foot, unless you know, they won't let you put that back. You put back what's there. It knocks down a wood bridge, you can't put back a concrete bridge. No, that you can replace what was there. So sheet pile would have been an improvement to that area. And so they wouldn't have considered that a reimbursement.
Well, what difference does it make? We're not getting paid and we blew $175,000. So what's your solution today?
If you want to repair it, would be to build a sheet pile wall before we start refilling it, but that's going to be a whole new cost.
And you know what the cost of that would be?
Not off the top of my head. We could figure it out and get you a number, an estimate.
If I'm not mistaken, that was one of the first estimates that Ho-Chunk submitted was put a sheet pile, and that was from the get-go back then was to put a sheet pile in it and leave it, and just backfill and leave it, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know, I wasn't here when that
Oh,
was.
okay.
So what happens if we don't do anything? I know they're out of business, I understand that, but what happens?
It'll slowly continue to erode.
I don't think it's due to erosion. I mean, I understand it's fallen, but it's not eroding from the bank in, it's going from behind.
As the river rises, it's going to take what was put back in and just erode it away. It'll eventually go back to where it was.
It's more like a sinkhole than it is erosion.
Well, what Jim's saying is it's a slope stability issue, which is almost like a half circle, and it's sliding down and pushing out down in the lower part of the channel you can't see.
And just dumping a whole bunch of riprap in there won't do it?
Last time I did it slid to South Dakota.
Yeah.
Last time they did it, all the rock slid to South Dakota, basically, started building a bridge.
Yeah, with the slope failure in the middle of the creek, you got to start at the other side, the South Dakota side, and build it across.
I don't remember a gentleman I spoke to from Cedar Rapids that did the engineering, whatever. He said that there's a whole bunch of pilings on the South Dakota side, that those pilings were put in when the bridge was taken, when they took built the new interstate bridge. They put those pilings in on the South Dakota side to direct the water to the Iowa side as they were taking the concrete out. He said those should have been taken out, but they're still there. You guys have a tough decision. We're just looking for some help so we can keep going.
Well, call the roll on 24.
Capron,
The work's been done,
What are we
right?
voting on?
Correct.
The final payment to Mark Albanese and change orders.
Well,
Aye.
and this is just voting for the final payment of the work that's been done, and then we have to decide where we're going from there. Ultimately,
correct.
that's a whole nother conversation.
It is.
It sounds like a fun one.
Sure we pay the engineer for this.
I said aye.
did you? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, we,
Greckin,
aye, gotta pay him.
Aye.
Scott,
No.
Waters.
Aye.
Well, Bob, hold on a minute. We gotta figure out what we're gonna do. You can't just leave it hanging out here,
Well,
so.
we can't decide that today. These guys are gonna have to get your recommendations.
Prices.
The prices and that.
Well, okay,
I-
that's what wanted to know what was gonna happen, so.
Yeah, we can work out a price to construct a sheet pile wall through there and come back with that.
And is it our responsibility because of the safety concern?
Right, it's city property.
City property, yeah.
And so it's a safety concern, right? I mean, since it's
Yeah.
our property, we can't have people being injured on that.
I mean, if we're not gonna build the sheet pile wall, we're probably gonna have to knock that bank down and pretty much take out the parking lot to
Make it safe.
make it safe. Otherwise, you're gonna be left with an 8-foot, 10-foot drop there.
Yeah.
So is it safe for them to for the club to continue in that structure out there?
That, I don't know.
Yeah, and
It-
it
it's-
seems to me the city's exposure to liability is too great to take that chance.
Yeah, you
Plus,
just
it's
don't
a
know
mess
what,
out there. The parking lot and everything's just a total disaster from the rain and
I mean, it would just,
Albanesius and the city and.
what do you think?
On the liability aspect, is that what you're asking?
Yes, on the liability aspect, yes.
There's a little more background. There's a lease agreement between the city and the boat club for use
Okay.
of that property.
Do
which
they accept all liability?
No, in
Okay.
that situation, I mean, we're ensuring that they can operate there. So if there's a situation where the lease needs to be voided or terminated because of impassability, then that's another discussion that we'll need to have.
I think you better start that discussion.
Yeah, I do too.
We're not talking about a fix that's gonna happen tomorrow.
No. Don't we have any choice?
All right, 25 is a resolution approving a development agreement with Clayton Creek for the rural residential development at 701 and 801 South Roswell Street. What size water line did you come up with?
Jeff Hansen, Community Development Operations Manager. The developers continue to work with their engineer to design a 4-inch private water main, which will be owned, maintained, and all water quality will be the responsibility of the developer. Also, the design requirements requires him to put the required check valves and have all that inspection done on an annual basis to make sure that that check valve on the public main is working.
We have a motion here?
Can I ask Jeff a question real quick? On the development agreement, it says developer will sign a limited services agreement limiting fire protection. What does that mean exactly?
Without an 8-inch public main, there'll be very little water pressure for any type of fire hydrant system within the subdivision. So it limits the water capacity to the development, but also it limits the access to the development by the fire truck apparatus. So in case of severe weather, there may be situations where the fire trucks cannot get to the site because we are in a rural setting. It is on a gravel street. So the developer has agreed to sign that agreement.
Okay. And will it impact the Police services?
Does that become a deed restriction?
It may, in situations where we have severe weather, mostly in the wintertime, I would say, when we have low priority for snow removal, it may limit the police response time in that area. I know the developer's also working on a homeowners association to maintain this stretch of road. So although it'll be a very low priority for our city crews to plow that, they have an opportunity to plow that with their own homeowners association.
If I'm buying a lot out there, I just asked Nicole, if I'm buying a lot out there, how do I know that stuff?
Yeah. The development agreement is going to be recorded on the entire property. And then also with the dig funds, we have the promissory note that's recorded on the property that we in turn have to release. But also, I guess, the developer can disclose that when he's selling the lots. I'll let Jay answer that question.
Yeah, Jay Lehman, 6701 Kingswood Court. I'm sorry, Mr. Scott, what was your
I just want to
question?
know if I'm buying a lot there, which I can't afford, but if, let's say I won the lottery and could, how do I know all these things? Is it?
No, the limited, I'm going to show that to every buyer to let them know that we're going to have a limit. That was going to be signed, whether it was 8-inch or 4-inch also. That was agreed upon.
That gets filed for record.
Hmm?
That gets filed for record.
It does.
Yes.
The development agreement will be recorded on the entire property. The legal description is attached to that development agreement, which will be used for the recording.
So then you'd get that in your title opinion.
But
By your
the question
paralegal.
is whether or not the limit will be recorded.
That always has been recorded.
How do they do that in Nebraska where they have title insurance? You just take it at your own risk then, or what happens?
You're trying to make me stroke out after. You might need my vote someday. You haven't needed it so far, yeah.
All right, any other questions?
Title insurance.
Call the roll, please.
Need a motion or second first?
Please.
Oh, I thought we did. I'll move it, I don't care.
Second.
Greckin?
Aye.
Moore?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Waters? Aye. Capron?
Aye.
You know, my idea of limiting these developments to $7,500 must have been the dumbest idea in the world, because we've never adhered to it. So let's get that out of the record from now on. Let's just do whatever you have to do.
Case by case.
I really don't care anymore. We haven't adhered to it once. Citizen concerns.
Oh, no. You want to address this?
No, I would just comment that staff had proposed bringing forward that amount of $7,000 when this first came about. And staff has been consistent with working developers on keeping to that 5,000 to 7,000 per range since that was set. The developer in this case asked for the additional money to work outside of the development. In this case, he's working outside of South Roswell, and he sought council direction to increase that monetary value, which was approved.
I'm just gonna say the last time you were here, you argued more for the developer than you did for the 7,500.
Okay.
So I'm just saying it doesn't make any difference anymore. Citizen concerns. Any citizen want to be heard, please come forward to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. No one want to be heard? We'll go to council concerns.
I have no council concerns.
I have one. I ran into somebody yesterday, and she's very concerned about Rebecca and down by Burr Cliff. Evidently, they have, it's like a racetrack, and it goes right past the Headington Park, and she's afraid there's a lot of kids out there playing now. It's getting nice out, and if there's anything that we could do, maybe, she thought a four-way stop on Willis and Rebecca. I said, I don't know if we could do that or not, but maybe talk to the police department, maybe, I don't know. I didn't know what to tell her, so.
Where do they want the four-way stop?
Well, on Rebecca
West
and Willis.
and Rebecca.
Yeah.
I lived actually right there in that corner.
Oh, really?
Yeah, West Willis and Rebecca.
Well, is it crazy? I mean, is it pretty,
I mean, it's relative, but yeah, people go pretty fast from that stretch going towards Briarcliff because the only stop is what, a block or two
Right.
to the south.
Yeah, 28th Street, I
Yeah,
think, has
and
a
then
four-way.
people catch it and they're going to Briarcliff, so then they go pretty quick.
Yeah.
past the park. I mean, the park's right there, you're right.
Right.
I'll
Yeah,
work with the
so-
police department and public works to see what we can come up with.
Okay.
See if there's some deterrent instead of just adding
Yeah.
signs or something.
Maybe put one of those digital signs up or something. I don't know.
Like this is your speed, is that what you mean?
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Why don't you take the one that's been out to Whispering Creek forever? I mean, I don't mind helping Whispering Creek because I kind of a member there, but why do we get our own flashing, you're going too fast forever and ever and ever? Did they pay for that?
No, those are permanently mounted there. We could move them.
Well, I don't understand why that neighborhood has any more privilege than another neighborhood. It's never been moved since you put it up. And that was never the intent of those signs. You used to have one on Hamilton Boulevard, about 32nd Street there, and you moved it, and it looks like it's attached the same way.
We've got a couple on West Fourth also that are permanently attached. So it's not a privilege of a neighborhood, it's just a.
Well, why would we have attached it permanently on Whispering Creek?
Because we get a lot of complaints.
Going down there.
Doesn't slow any, it slows no one up a bit. I drive it regularly. It just doesn't, I don't think.
The one on Hamilton, and there was one on Floyd Boulevard too.
We're getting a couple repaired. I think those,
Oh.
there was one on South Lakeport also, but it's not there either, so we're repairing some, but anyway.
Thanks.
Are they on a rotation schedule, or is it just,
No.
it's just based on need or complaint or something like that,
Usually
right?
the complaint generates that, yes.
Yeah.
We'll see what we
Way to
got.
go.
I'll
Okay.
check in with.
Okay, that'd be good. Thanks, Chief.
Yeah, because if it's been there a while, a rotation program or something, you know what I mean, where you just rotate something. I don't know if it's a deterrent enough, I don't know, I'd have to sit there and run radar, but.
Well, what do you do when you see one? Do you put your foot on the gas or do you put your foot on the brake?
I just
That's-
keep on going because you know it's not recording anything. Slow me up a bit.
Yeah, that's the argument.
Going too fast, that's why.
I hit the brakes suddenly.
I do
I'm being
too.
tailgated.
It doesn't slow anybody up,
I
especially
have
one that's
somebody
been
in
there
my
for
back
2 years,
seat.
because you know it really doesn't mean anything.
We do collect data off those, so they do give us information.
I hope you don't collect license plates.
But there's yeah, whether there's a problem in that area.
And what do you do with that info, though? I mean, would then,
Well-
you'd install some other deterrent? I mean,
We would put a police officer out there if it generated enough data that there is a problem.
and does it trigger only when it's flashing then to record that data? Because surely it doesn't record all of it.
It records all, it'll record the number of vehicles driving by, it'll also record the speed.
Wow. Okay.
It's all Bluetooth, you go up and get it on a phone and
Yeah.
see the data.
Is it hard to read the bandit's license plate because it's blurred? So fast?
It's like a streak.
He thought he got me on a red light camera the other day, but it was my daughter using my truck. He was waiting 5 years, he went to that computer every day, and you know what, it wasn't me. And so I sent him an email back and said, nice try, keep looking.
You know, one thing though, Mayor, you got your wife a really nice sports car. I might be worried about
We're
that.
going on to council concerns here today.
Well, I'm concerned.
Concerned about her safety?
Concerned about her safety. He gave her a really
That
nice,
may not have been announced yet.
really nice.
Oh, yeah.
No, I see
Right,
it.
exactly.
Oh, no, she looks good in red, I can tell you that.
Pete, anything
Yeah.
else for you?
No, I had nothing.
Anything else for you, Rhonda?
Well, I guess I'll shut up now.
Okay.
I guess the two I have today weren't necessarily concerns, but I took part in Earth Day. There was a good showing at the Resist, Renew, Rebuild event out in Cook Park. And so that was fun to see a lot of people out there celebrating Earth Day. It was a beautiful day for that. And then the second thing that I would bring to people's attention is the public library's book lover sale. I think that that's an excellent opportunity that apparently my girlfriend wants to stock up a library that she's building. But,
They're only $3.
it goes
The-
until
the highest
it
is
goes until
$3.
the 29th. It goes until the 29th.
I didn't write this.
Yeah, I believe it. So
I'm just
anyway,
the
the book lover
messenger.
sale is at the old Tuesday morning place. I don't know the address, but
It's right by Red Lobster.
over by Red Lobster. Anyway, great time, great opportunity to get some good books.
$3 or lower.
Well, and then now it's at a stagger thing where it's going to reduce the price the whole time, right?
Really?
The Journal's probably telling me. I'll have to look at it. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead, Dan. That's it.
Is my 3 minutes running? I want to talk about the Convention Center Hotel.
Oh, boy.
In my quest to make sure council makes the best decision they can, we don't have a meeting a week from today.
Correct.
Our next meeting will be May 8th.
Correct.
I asked the finance director for a report, something that hasn't at least come up publicly that I know of, a report on total operating subsidy of the convention center. And I just want to make sure we have gathered all the information we possibly can get, so we can make a good decision. And those subsidies are as follows. First of all, the convention center was opened in FY 1995, and has required a subsidy since its inception. And the report.
How much?
95? I was
FY
gonna say,
95?
91.
91?
is that right?
We have the average
Before that.
starting in 95, going to 09 for an average. But if it's 91.
It was in the 80s because I was just a councilman.
Yeah,
I
it had-
wasn't mayor. You can't pin that one on me. Go
They
ahead.
celebrated their 25th here a couple of years ago.
The convention center opened in the 80s?
Mhm. One of my first votes was to vote no on it in 1986. And they built it and they opened it in like 88 or 89.
You voted no.
Marty, were you here in 91? You weren't, were you?
Anybody?
25th anniversary event here a couple of years ago down there, so it's got to be 27 years or something like that.
Well, anyway, you can get that for us.
Yeah.
But we've had subsidies since the 80s, and apparently.
Mhm.
But more importantly, would be what it's been in recent years. So, in FY 2010, and Pete and I weren't on the council then.
Nor was I.
Or I.
The subsidy was
Oh, yes.
Not 2010.
$795,962.
How much?
$795,962.
He said
These are I've got the revenues and then the expenses and then the difference. In FY 2011, it was $946,789. That's the total operating subsidy that you've given me here.
Is that just for the convention center?
In FY 2012, again, the year before Pete and I came on, $836,883. In FY 2013,
That could be right.
$681,381. FY 2014, $583,205. FY 2015, $426,782. FY 2016, $551,219.
And here's the funding.
And then your FY 17, is that a partial?
That came later.
That's the budget is $355,479. So we've had these operating subsidies since the inception, which add up to a lot of money. And I think we should be well aware of what we're paying for the operations. That's the operating. That doesn't take into account the debt service, does it?
There is no debt service.
Oh, there is none? In the early years, it wasn't?
Can't be very much debt service.
It's the debt service for the remodeling of the kitchen and the carpet and the lights and the roof.
Yeah, but
That
you'd
doesn't add up
gladly
to-
have that if the subsidy went away.
Okay. So I want to keep that in mind because there's been a lot of discussion about the hotel. And the other one that seems to be just kind of, maybe I put more weight on it than I should have, but I want to share with the council members under concerns that I thought the Ag Center was really directly tied into the reinvestment district. But apparently the Ag Center may be able to stand on its own. I don't know.
No.
Cannot.
Oh, I
It
don't
can,
think so.
I wanna be
it requires a hotel to provide hotel motel tax to the tax reinvestment district. It doesn't necessarily need to be this hotel, but it would require additional tax revenue from a hotel in the district.
Any hotel
Any
In the
hotel.
district.
Oh, and the hotel has to
in the
be.
reinvestment district.
has to be Changed up to 50% or something
Right.
like that, right?
And there has to be a
Adapted.
50% improvement to that hotel.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. So the Ag Center is dependent on
The hotel motel
the, ho-
tax.
and having,
Capturing
and
As the
having,
reinvestment
and having a
district
hotel.
is
Yes.
laid,
Okay,
as the reinvestment district is laid out right now, it is very dependent on this hotel, this
Okay.
projected hotel.
well, I made that alarming statement because I'm still hearing, when I get calls, emails, there's still some question, I guess, about whether it's tied in or not, but it is tied in.
Yes.
It's-
Or
it's-
misunderstanding or something.
Or misunderstanding. And I think it's important that we all are on the same page, which doesn't mean we're all in agreement for the project, but I want to make sure we have all of the facts that we possibly can get before us, because this is coming back May 8th, maybe?
Maybe.
When it comes back on May 8th, I want to make sure council has all the facts, and we can talk about why we're voting the way we're voting, and we have a really thorough discussion on it, which I know the mayor will let us have, but I just want to make sure at least we're all on the same page of what the facts are. So, and I'm not saying, I'm glad the Sioux City Journal reports what you do, and I think it's good reporting. But one thing that I might have read wrong was that when the mayor threw out a different idea, and then we called to have on the agenda for the following meetings, let's have all the information for a long time. I wanted to make sure we got it out in front of the public, was my intent of having that on the agenda. It wasn't in response to, we better find out what we're doing here, because we know what we're doing. We know what most of the facts are. But for example, like the convention center subsidy, I don't know if we have ever talked about exactly what those numbers are. That could enter into the decision making. I mean, I think it would enter into it. And will we have an impact on what that is? I know you're looking at me like my 3 minutes are up.
No, I'm not commenting at all, because I'm not giving Larry Herter any firepower. But I mentioned that budget problem, the last budget, very, very candidly.
The subsidy you did.
Yes.
I agree with you, you did. And sometimes that gets lost, and I'm not being critical of us as a council, but I want to just make sure we have everything in front of us that we've discussed. And Marty, I really count on you to do this. Donna, thank you for putting this together, because you did go through this at budget. I know that, but to pull everything out, to try to pull it all together, it can become difficult. And I don't think anybody's saying this is a done deal. I don't think anybody's saying the votes are there. I don't know if the votes are there or not. I mean, at least for this elected official, I don't know if the votes are there. And I think it's dangerous to say whether the votes are there or not anyway, because you might learn something along the way that might influence what your thinking is. So I just think it's extremely important that we all have the same set of facts, and if we disagree, I want to agree to disagree with honor and really make sure we make a sound decision.
Since you're on that, can I just make a brief comment?
Sure, anything, Pete, that might help.
I've got that journal from Saturday, and I've debated all weekend what I should say or shouldn't say, but there is one gentleman apparently on the State Economic Development Board who was surprised at the comments made by the mayor. And I just want to say, basically, I appreciate the fact that the mayor expresses his opinions. I may not always agree with them, but I will tell you that after I was elected, I guess, and before I was sworn in, I had a conversation with the mayor, and he encouraged me then to always speak my opinion, and we may not always agree on the vote, but when it's done, it's done. And I wouldn't want the mayor to be any less direct with his comments than he has been. And I think he is certainly more than entitled to his opinion. In fact, I like people like that, believe it or not, because you always know where they stand. And so I appreciate the fact that he shares how he feels, And I'm disappointed that the State Economic Development Board would believe that because one member of the council made a comment that that was, in fact, the decision of the entire council. That's not fair to the individual who makes the comment. It's not fair to those who will be voting. And I appreciate, Dan, I appreciate you sharing the information. And I sometimes wonder if I have all of the information that I need to know to make an intelligent, informed decision. But as I understand it, and Marty can confirm it again, but I think I've asked Marty this reinvestment district program is based upon those three components. It's all or nothing. There's no one can't survive and the other two can?
Yeah, I guess we've always presented it that way, and that's the way the board's always talked to us about it, that we competed to be one of the successful projects. We laid out these would be our projects, and we would have to ask for a pretty serious amendment or change to our plan to get something different than that approved. And they are financially tied together, as you discussed earlier. I think the reinvestment district, the heart of it, the opportunity that we have is to capture state hotel motel taxes and state sales taxes.
Well, I wasn't sure when there was an article in the paper again about the recreation center. It almost sounded like that could become part of the reinvestment district project, but it can or cannot.
Anything that if there were some recreational elements to the ag center, that could be done, I think, without any major issue. If you're going to build yet another separate project, we would have to ask them to approve that.
But it can be. You would just have to ask for an amendment or a change to the reinvestment district plan.
Right.
Yeah, but it would also have to be in that 25 acres, which
yes.
is not.
You're starting to run out of room.
And can you adjust that boundary?
No, it's limited in size.
You can adjust it by moving it, but you're still limited to
25 acres.
Yeah.
You can
tied to those two, so you can't get very far off the street.
We could ask that, it's correct. We could ask that it be changed slightly now, but once they make the final approval, then you can't.
Yeah, correct.
I think that's right.
And I appreciate Renee being there last week to update the board. How was it left then with the board? We're still just meeting on a regular basis to update them, and is there a time period
I could
in
ask
motion
Renee
right now?
to report that, but I think they pretty much told us that they'd like to have something done in the next couple of months.
Okay.
Midsummer. I heard midsummer, is that right? So we have a little more time to consider it. I know these are complex questions. I think everybody's asked good questions, and I too have no problem with the mayor's questions. I know I've tried to answer them as best I can, and I think they're all good questions, and a lot of business people have asked questions, and I think they're all fair. It's a complex project we're attempting to do. We do have this great opportunity with this funding opportunity, but how to make it work the best for the city, I think that's what everybody's trying to figure out.
As for timing with the hotel, the next scheduled agenda item will be May 8th. However, we will continue to defer the development agreement until we have an agreeable management agreement that we can propose for council consideration. Those tie together. Mike Collette and Donna Forker, Finance Director, have been in negotiations with Kinseth Group, and when that is complete, we will bring that back at the same time we bring back the development agreement.
Okay.
We will continue to defer until we have that.
But we also have to have the Ag Center raise a bunch of money yet, too.
No, not a blind.
No, they're close. If it's built as an ag center, they feel they have the resources to complete it.
Really? Well, that's the first I
And
heard.
following up on what Councilmember Gretkin stated, there are pluses and minuses. This council, quite frankly, I think we get along really well, especially when it comes time for disagreeing. And we do it civilly and professionally. And so I hope the public doesn't take our discussions. I think we're very open. I think we're very transparent. And we need to have these kind of discussions in front of the whole world, because that hopefully, you might not agree with what we finally vote up or down, but hopefully that will send the message that we have clearly considered all of the facts that we had before us. And I agree with Councilmember Gretkin, just because the mayor or any one of us can make comments on these projects, if it's something we believe in or a question we pose, we have to be able to do that as elected officials, and I think we need to do that as a city council. I think that's what makes us stronger. I think that makes our city more progressive, and that's the way we're going to get things done. So, and it's all very upfront. I've never have been, we're in our 4th year, and I've never been blindsided by any council member on anything we've discussed. It's all been open and transparent. So I really do appreciate that. I value that. But sometimes you run into the risk of, when you have an open discussion, then it's like, oh, are they disagreeing, or what's the vote going to be? And I think we'll have a better idea as we get closer to actually taking that vote.
Well, and I want to add one thing too. You know, we're talking about the mayor, and when he brought up the recreation thing for the convention center, he really stirred some conversation, and that conversation has turned into maybe a big project. So, you know, we have that to look, are involved that love Sioux City. They're here in Sioux City. They've been other places, but they want to invest in Sioux City. So the mayor got the conversation going. So, you know, that's what it's all about up here. It's ideas, and not all, you know, we all have different ideas, and sometimes, you know, good comes out of it. So I got to thank the mayor for that.
That's all I have.
I would have a question, actually.
Which is plenty.
Sorry, since we're on that topic. Marty, it was being brought up to Kenseth about the opportunity or ability to go higher than 5 stories. Did anything come back? I just haven't heard back if that was an opportunity. I mean, I know that costs increase and things like that, but I didn't know if they would be still interested or what their thought was.
Sure. I did have a discussion with their architect, and with them, but also with their architect, and the mayor was asking me about that earlier today, and I wouldn't rule it out completely, but I do think that they did look at that early on as to what the right number of stories would be to get to 150 rooms to fit on the site in the best way and the most cost-efficient way. So they settled on 5 stories. I mean, I can, based on feedback I'm getting, I'll try to get some more detailed information on that if you'd like. And I think what the mayor was asking, which I think was actually a pretty good question, is, you know, if you had some savings from the ramp, if you didn't need to build that ramp, would that savings translate into ability to have a taller building? And I will pursue that a little bit farther. I did talk to them last week about that, but I'll pursue that a little bit farther. And, you know, one of the concerns was whether that still allowed enough surface parking. You could reduce the footprint, but would that still be enough to meet the standards of Marriott to have X number of spaces? So I can talk to them a little bit more. I did have a conversation with them, but I can pursue that a bit more. And
well, my question
all
too,
the information we're going to give you before May 8th.
My question too is not just the parking issue as well, but if you reduce the footprint, are you still able or better able to get to those loading doors?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I know you've asked me that.
Whether or not the truck can snake back in there.
Right.
And so if you reduce that footprint, does it allow more space?
Right. I understand. There's in fact, I had opportunity to talk to the home builders last week as well, and we discussed that at some length too, and at their regular meeting. So.
Thank you.
I'm not saying anything. I don't want to have Renee have to make up any stories again, so I'm just going to shut up and move we adjourn today.
Second.
Wait a minute. If you guys want to be heard, that's why I ask under citizen concerns to come up, so. Come on up.
My apologies, the citizen concerns, at that time, the hotel discussions was not in place, so that's the one reason why I would like to make a comment. Pradeep Desai is my name. The hotel owner or property owner with a concern related to hotels. And only one question, I'm not aware of what the study has been done with the existing hotels in town and their capacity, and whether there is definitely need for having a new one, which will then brings extra revenue or extra traffic to fill up those hotels. So I just wonder whether a council member would consider having that study done first as a part of the hotel, as a new hotel, and expenditure of that versus taking over the existing one or evaluating how to improve the existing ones and put some grant money which they're going to rake into the new one. Why don't you put into the existing ones and bring them up to date? And that's the only comment I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now I move we adjourn.
Second.
Greckin?
Aye.
Moore?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Capron?
Aye.
Hey, Dana.